Hi, it's me, Dr. Lee, and thank you for joining me. Today's prayer, I'm calling it God's knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. God's knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. I'm going to read Proverbs 2, verse 1 through 6, NIV. Proverbs 2, verse 1 through 6, NIV. And it says, My son, if you accept my words and store up my commands within you, turning your ear wisdom and applying your heart to understanding. Indeed, if you call out for insight and cry aloud for understanding, and if you look for it as for silver and search for it as for hidden treasure, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding. Again, Proverbs 2, 1 through 6, NIV. And it says, My son, if you accept my words, we got to accept God's words and store up my commands within you and store up his commands in us. Turning your ear wisdom and applying your heart to understanding. Indeed, you call out for insight and cry aloud for understanding. Just call out to God for insight, for understanding, whatever the situation, whatever the case. And if you look for it as for silver and search for it as for hidden treasure, you got to search for it. Just don't have. You got to do some action. You got to put something with it. We got to search. We got to do our part. Then you would understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. For the Lord's give wisdom, from his mouth come knowledge and understanding. Now, this is my personal opinion. With God's knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, to me, it's one of those things, until you experience a certain level of it, sometimes you'll think like, okay, that may not be possible, but okay, I believe it. That's possible. Or you may say, well, how did that person know this? Or how did you come up to that conclusion? Or no, where you get that info from? And the average person, someone that may not have experienced God's knowledge and wisdom and understanding, and like I said, it's all kind of levels of it. That God keep us, how can they keep us growing, keep us digging, keep us searching. That sometimes it's hard for people to understand something because they had experienced it. And now some people say, well, may say, okay, I believe you, I believe it. But like, that just seems so far-fetched. That seems unbelievable. Just like, take for example, like Jesus' mother Mary. Can you imagine like how unbelievable that was to that I probably know even to her, like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna have a baby, I'm gonna carry a baby, huh? What about me? And then even with Joseph, he was like, because it's something that that's just unheard of. It's unbelievable. But then when you put God's knowledge and wisdom and understanding, God has a way to give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that others may, like I said, can't even comprehend. They'll be like, okay, that person is lying. That person is, they're crazy. They're off the road, because they don't understand it. And then they see it come to pass, like, okay, if it's something that they can see to come to pass. And so he was like, okay, they may not, it's like unheard of. But for these kind of things, like I said, there's different levels of when you like saying, it's so like so many things that we seek and we search for God that we will experience. We experience. But like I said, in this verse it said that like what's it, like a treasure, search for it like a hidden treasure. And you know how people search for hidden treasure or search for money? They put their heart and their soul in it. So with God's knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, put our heart and our soul in it. Wanting, saying to have have God to to give us his knowledge and his wisdom and understanding on a certain area or a certain circumstance. And, and people like, oh, oh wow, whether that saying whether that come from, how do you know that, or how are you prepared, prepare for that. And they, like I said, can't understand. It's hard, like, for a lot of people to understand something, or not understand, I said, to believe it when it seems so unbelievable. Like I said, when Mary, Mary and Joseph, and they had Jesus, but then after it come to pass, we all like believe it. Like people that said they believe in God was like, okay, we believe that God can do that. But you can imagine people back in the day like, okay, Mary, Mary, you sure? And then some people like, well, Mary, somebody like, okay, Mary, we talking about Mary here, Mary, little sweet Mary, and they could believe, but like, so well, how do but I don't understand it. If that make any sense. So with that, let's say for example, God could, I'm just making like something on top of my head. Like God could tell you, okay, the sky is gonna be red, all red. When people gonna wake up and the sky is like red, and you like, I'm telling you all, God is what God told me, and I'm not, all I know is this is what I know, and it's what I understand, and I'm basing this on my relationship with God and my journey, and this is what this I don't even see how the sky would just be red all over, that everybody wake up and the sky is red. And people look at it like, okay, impossible, the sky is not going to be red. So what, I just don't understand. So people look at like, but you can't expect the people to understand your walk, your relationship, and don't even try to make them believe it. You be, oh, yes, God told me the sky gonna be red, and you get all the attitude and popping your fingers and mad because they don't believe it. That's unimportant. It's not important for God to believe, not God, for people to believe you. If it's about them, they believe it, good. If they don't believe it, that's on them. You say, you know what, I did my part. But like I said, but God could be telling you the sky's gonna be red and wake up, and then it doesn't happen for 20 years, 20 years, and wake up one day, and you may be, and it could happen, you be dead and gone when it happened. It's like, wow, that person actually was been saying that for years, and it was 20 years. They just kept saying one day we're gonna wake up, the sky is red. It's like, oh my. And so it's just, one of those one of the things. And like I like miss, like now, with the like President Trump, like with President Trump, not to get in politics today, like you hear all the different battles and stuff. I know, like I said, I'm not really a news watcher, but that all the stuff in the news, and this, it's getting closer to the closer to the election, and I love to like to mess with people that's like in my circle that's close to me. I like to mess with them, and I tell myself Trump's gonna be president again, and they're like, oh, no way. Also, not that I one way or the other, I mean, Trump's so like anybody's so I don't even get, politics stuff. That's not even my cup of tea or whatever. But so I like to I say that, so I'm just telling you what I what I know. What I know. I said that's what I believe. I said, and so I said, so if he's the president, then you'll say, well, okay, all right, you got, I'm gonna have to like take heed of what she say. I said, but if it's not president, you say, you know what? No, she was of course. So I just like, it's fun. Tell them, well, Trump's gonna be president, and I was like, so but you could say that, and like, oh no, like, no, he is not, no, there's no way. And just the different comments, especially the people that are not Trump's supporters. And I said, well, I'm not saying one way or the other. I don't, it's none of it's my cup of tea. So I'm focused on God things, all this other stuff, whatever. But and so with that, I'm using that as an example that I know that's coming up in like I said, and I guess some maybe a month, two or three